When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hi, I'm John Mallis. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Today we're talking about the National Weather Service. That's right, they are back, and our guest today will talk about El Nino and the possibility of more rain. I don't know. Summer is just around the corner. We'll have to see if the rainy season is over. We'll show you the totals. 436 Me TV option 11. We're back here on the program in just a moment. And back here on the program on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno on this Tuesday morning. We're glad to have the National Weather Service in the show today here in the studio at Ventura TV. We'll talk about the rain totals and all the rest, El Nino. We'll even touch on some of those tornadoes that are, boy, they're ripping through the state of Oklahoma and the Great Plains. We'll talk about that. But first, I want to talk about last night. I mean, history in the making. I mean, is this guy one of the greatest players of all time that you've ever seen? I'm talking about Steph Curry. Put his picture up right there. Look at that. Steph Curry, can't show the highlights because we're, I don't know, I guess prohibited from showing NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. I don't know why, because we get banned from YouTube every time we do. But I got to tell you about last night's game. History in the making. This guy hadn't played in 2 weeks because of a knee injury, an ankle injury. He comes off the bench after Livingston gets tossed out of the game and scores 40 points to come from behind and beat the Portland Trail Blazers. And now the Warriors lead the series 3-1 as the series switches back to Oakland on Wednesday night. I'll tell you what, Curry lit up the rim in the overtime period, scoring 17 points, just bombs away from three-point land, and you had to see it, the video of Curry hitting a three-point shot and then mouthing the words, "I'm back, I'm back, I'm back," as the Warriors defeated the Portland Trail Blazers. They trailed at one time in the first half by as many as 15 points, but Livingston gets tossed. Curry was only supposed to play 26 minutes, and he comes off the bench and plays the majority of the game and wins it in overtime. A phenomenal player, and also, boy, I'll tell you, Draymond Green played a huge part in this too. And the reason I had to mention this is, I guess we'll have to do maybe a whole sports program on this, but Curry has got to be one of the greatest players the game has ever seen. Michael Jordan is still number one, but Curry not too far behind. Got to tell you that. On to our program today, talking about the National Weather Service. Can you believe this agency, which is an arm, an extension of the U.S. government, is 126 years old this year? That's right. Dates back to 1890. At the time, it was called the United States Weather Bureau until 1970, when the agency finally changed its name. I want to put a couple of pictures up so you'll see right now. Let's put that first one up. There it is right there. Show you a couple of pictures. National Weather Service office in Hanford. It's hard to believe this place is celebrating 21 years in operation. That's how long they've been providing weather forecasts, warnings, information on how to stay safe during weather emergencies. We'll ask our guest today how many people actually work inside the office. The National Weather Service is an extension of the U.S. government, and back some 20 years ago, the closest office was in San Francisco. But the feds finally decided, hey, we want an office in the Central Valley, and they chose Hanford. Obviously, technology has changed in 21 years. Weather models, satellite imagery are now far more detailed. Let's roll the videotape, my friends. We'll talk about the agency itself, and also check this out from yesterday. Tornado touching down in Elmore City, Oklahoma. Wow. Look at that. Experts say a substantial tornado risk could develop in portions of the southern plains and the Ozarks today, although we will never see anything like this or close to this in the Central Valley. We'll ask our expert today about tornadoes, hurricanes, what causes them, and how destructive they can be. Look at this thing, as much as a mile wide as it rips through the plains of Oklahoma yesterday. Live in our studio is Kevin Lynott, a member of the National Weather Service. He will talk about El Nino. Did it materialize this year, or did it not? Was it a flop? We'll show you the rain totals. 436-MEET-TV, option 11 is our telephone number here. We're back after this brief timeout on Connect with Me.
You can find movies on over-the-air channel 13.3. Movies. Our name says it all.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here on the show, Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Kevin Lynott is here. Good to see you again, my friend. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Hey, I'm glad you're back on the program. So you watched that Warrior game last night, huh?
I caught the very end of that game, actually.
Wow.
Overtime.
Wow. I was really screaming last night. I thought my neighbors were going to call the cops. I was yelling, jumping out of my bed, and very exciting game. And I think kind of history in the making, too. That's why I had to mention it in the monologue.
17 points in overtime.
I mean,
not too many players can do that.
No. You and I can't do that. We can maybe forecast the weather, though, can't we?
Well, we do our best, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. So, hey, let's put up those pictures of the National Weather Service again, the ones that we saw in the monologue, and explain what we're looking at here. What is this? Bank of monitors, I can see that, so don't.
Simply,
but
John,
I mean, what are we looking at, really?
Yeah, simply, this is our operations area. This is where we function 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where we have 2 or up to 3 meteorologists on the floor looking at short-term, long-term weather, current observations, satellite radar, a lot of good stuff, a lot of data that just pours into our office so we can deliver the best information products possible to folks out here in the valley. Yeah,
it's an amazing. How many banks of monitors do you have there, and how many people in that office?
Yeah, the pictures you see, you only see maybe about 3 or 4 workstations. We have up to 5 or 6 workstations in the operations area. There's a good picture right there with approximately 21, 22 employees at the Hanford office, National Weather Service. Not everyone is a meteorologist. We have various job titles in the office. Mm-hmm. Everyone's important. They all have an important role to help us meet our mission day in and day out. But again, the photo you're seeing there is where most of the activity or the meteorology is talked about.
So how has this office here progressed in the last 20 years? Because there was never an office in the Central Valley until 21 years ago, when the federal government came in and said, look, we need an office there in the Central Valley. San Francisco's way too far away. And so how has this office, I know you've been there less than a year, but you certainly know within the confines of this office here how it's progressed from a technological standpoint and otherwise.
Well, the National Weather Service modernized about 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. So the offices went under restructuring, if you will, and new offices opened up or spun up. I will say this: we did have smaller scale offices in Clovis and Bakersfield, and they only, those offices, although they were probably 24 hours a day, only had about a fifth of the employees that we currently do now. So very short staffed type offices.
But nothing like this.
No, not an operation that we have and many other National Weather Services offices have across the country right now. So yeah, we brought a lot of folks into when Hanford opened up, and again, we work around the clock, and the technology has exploded in the last 25 years.
Just in the last 5 years, or maybe even the last couple of years, that technology just it has to be so much far advanced than it was even a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's always improving, John. Not only with radar, satellite capabilities. There's just so much out there now. Even stations that are at the surface, or weather stations on the ground, as we say, more and more of those are being installed. So there's a variety of ways to get data each and every day. Technology is increasing, especially with our models that come in. We have supercomputers out on the East Coast that help feed data at very fast speeds, and so there's big data sets that we get into our office and into our advanced weather interactive processing system. It's a big system that, again, and we get to look at all of our data, and each model run that comes in with satellite, radar, a plethora of data.
All right, let me ask you a question now, because I've worked in television broadcasting now for many years, probably over 40 years. So every station I've worked for has had a weathercaster. Okay, just about every station except for one back east. And do these local forecasters, not only here in Fresno but around the country, do they rely on the National Weather Service for their information?
You mean the public in general?
Yeah, I'm talking about if you turn on Channel 30, Channel 47,
Okay.
Channel 24.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the weathercasters.
Yeah.
Do they rely on the information that you are giving to them for their forecast?
Sure. Yeah, they do, and now they run their computer models as well, but they can get as much information or weather forecasts from us that they'd like. A lot of these media outlets, other entities, they can repackage our forecast whichever way they want.
Free of
John.
charge, or
Yes,
yeah,
correct. Yeah, we're federal government, so there's no charge with what we produce and what we're giving out, how we serve the public.
Right.
So that includes, again, all different types of affiliations that are out there, including the media.
Caller, you're on the line with Kevin Lynott from the National Weather Service. Go ahead.
Good morning, John. Good morning, Kevin. What I'd like to know, sir, is what happened to the phone number you could call and get the weather report? That seems to have disappeared. I wonder if you could tell me if there's another one. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you on speaker? Leave it up there, Carrie. Leave it up. Are
Yes,
you
I'm on speaker.
Okay, take it off speaker, please. Just leave them up there.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Repeat the question.
I can't hear you now. I'm going to have to go back to speaker because I can't hear you regularly.
Okay.
What happened to the National Weather Service telephone?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The number that you used to be able to call to get the weather report and such, do you have another number for that? Because that's disappeared.
Oh.
We have a number of public, a few public numbers that anyone can call in.
Really?
To our office. There's also numbers that you can get the forecast specifically for Fresno or Bakersfield, which were kind of considered the two bigger hubs within our area of responsibility. But the numbers are still out there, and call anytime, 24/7.
Can you give out the number,
Give me that
please?
number, please?
One of the numbers off the top of my head would be 559-584-0583.
584. Last part, please.
You betcha.
Leave them up there. Up and down doesn't sound good on the air.
0583.
584-0583.
0583. Okay, I've got that.
Yeah,
That helps a lot. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Everybody have a good day.
584-0583.
You're very welcome.
Okay. God, that was like pulling teeth, that
Yeah,
call.
it's a little
Holy
hard to
cow.
hear.
Okay. Anyway, so they can call, let's see, what's that number again? 584-0583. Trying to collect my thoughts here. Any time of any day, 24 hours a day, right?
That's correct.
And get the forecast.
Yeah, not a problem. Again, we have those pictures that you were showing with the forecasters in the operations area, phones at every workstation, and so yeah, we get a variety of calls throughout the day. And since we are in operation, throughout the day, we're there to answer phone calls as well.
Okay. Well, you can call the National Weather Service at 584-0583 anytime you want to get the forecast. We're going to come back and talk more with Kevin Lynott. He is with the National Weather Service, been out there at the Hanford office less than a year now, and he's enjoying his time here in the Central Valley. We're glad he's back. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Back in just a moment.
Sports is now on KBHF 4.3.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here on the program, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Kevin Lynott is here. And let me ask you a question. The reason I ask you about this, so if I turn on Good Morning America, if I turn on the Today Show, or even ABC Nightly News with David Muir at night, they'll have their weather guy on talking about tornadoes. They're getting much of their information from the National Weather Service. Am I right?
They can. John, there's so many.
That's their option, right?
That's an option. It's always an option, and they know where to get it from us. Whether it be through the internet or whether it be through wireless means, whatever it might be. No Weather Radio, for example, that gets out there. We deliver in so many different formats and.
So what makes you different
than
than any other agency that predicts weather? What makes you different, other than the fact that you're an extension of the U.S. government? Or you're a U.S. government agency, really?
We have the knowledge and we have the tools to protect the public, to protect everyone that falls within our area of responsibility. Like no other, with radar, with all the capabilities that we do have at the weather office, warnings, watches, advisories, things of that nature, we can deliver quickly thanks to the technology that we do have at our fingertips.
Yeah. Caller, you're there on the air. Go ahead.
Kevin, let me ask you a question. As far as tornadoes that have been hitting, like Oklahoma, all that. How much time does the weather station give the public time to, they say it's coming down their town, so how many, is it a 15, 20-minute grace period or what? Because if I was living in like a tornado alley and all, I'm knowing that there's going to be eventually a tornado, I'd be having a basement or something, to be built or whatever, because a lot of the homes don't have that. I mean, they if they have 15, 20 minutes, they got enough time just to get out, So the weather stations are great, but how much time a grace period do they have to inform the public that there's a tornado coming at them? That's really what I want to know.
That's a great question. Thank you so much. Look at that tornado from yesterday in Elmore City, Oklahoma, ripping through the Great Plains. How much time, how much warning? Because it's a killer tornado, no doubt.
It is. I should be very clear about one thing, and we're proud of it, the National Weather Service. It doesn't start 15 or 20 minutes before what you're seeing on TV right now happens. we can see this stuff. The confidence grows in situations like this, but we have various ways. Again, I mentioned no weather radio. I mentioned, I will mention social media. There's a number of ways we are already getting the message out. Messaging is very important.
Can you take over the public airwaves if need be?
Well, the public airwaves would mainly be the emergency alert system, and so the emergency alert system is the way to get out the real-time messaging or for warnings or whatever we're issuing at the National Weather Service.
And Kevin, I want to show a tornado from 2 years ago, same place, Oklahoma, Tornado Alley. This is the one from 2 years ago, not yesterday. Look at this bad boy.
Yeah.
My goodness. And so you know well in advance, how far in advance do you know that a tornado was going to hit? And so you get the message out through the emergency alert system over the air broadcast. You do it on social media as well, right?
Yeah, social media, that's growing. It has been big for us over the last few years. Of course, the forecasters or meteorologists have to make the decisions. I want to go back to his question because, these tornadoes, they can develop very quickly, and there's a lot we need to look at on the radar and kind of dissect before the decision is made to issue a warning. But
so you're saying that it could be minutes before, it could be an hour before.
It could be. The times can vary. More times than not, again, we pinpoint the areas that are kind of under the gun, if you will, that these big storms or potential threats will occur, and then we're messaging, we're letting the public know that the possibility is there. This could be hours before a tornado actually ever touches down. That's why it's important that everyone out there that follows us, follows our, social media, Facebook, Twitter, our website. Our website will give the heads up that potential bad weather is on the way. So again, we're messaging hours and sometimes days before an actual event. So I'm sure down here where you're looking at this tornado, they knew about the threat, and not only were you getting the possibility of tornadoes, but large hail, damaging winds, and if we're doing our job, John, then we have fair warning ahead of this actual warned event here.
Why don't people move quicker to get out? A lot of times they get the warning and they hunker down. They say, "No, I'm staying."
That's hard to answer. We want people to be ready and resilient. I mean, those are some of our theme words now. To be responsible as well when bad weather hits, and the southern plains, central plains, these things can occur at any day, for the next few months when the ingredients are there. So people just need to listen to our information, watch TV, listen to the radio, and any other way they can get their weather information so they can prepare themselves to take some action when the watches or warnings do go out from any National Weather Service office.
Yeah, no matter where it is and what part of the country you live in, you have to take it seriously, especially if you live in the Midwest. If you live in the Southeast where they have hurricanes, you've got to take that as seriously as well. Yeah. And so is there a special app that someone can put on their phone to get text alerts from the National Weather Service?
Yeah, there's a mobile website, weather emergency alert, and I believe it's mobile.nws.gov if I remember right. I always get that one mixed up, but it's they can sign up to get the warnings, the alerts, exactly, that come out of our office or any National Weather Service office. It's I think it's mobile.nws.gov if I remember correctly. But mobile's definitely in there. You can always Google wireless emergency alerts from the National Weather Service, and you can find the link or the website that way.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to ask you some more questions about forecasting weather and how you do it. I want to delve into that part of it because I know it's all computer generated now, but I got some questions for you. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Kevin Lynott is here. Your chance to question him about the National Weather Service and what's going on weather-wise, talk about El Nino. If you want to ask any hurricane or tornado questions, I know we don't live in Tornado Alley, thank God, knock on wood, right? Let's not start now. 436-MeTV, option 11, back on our program here in just a moment.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back here with Kevin Lynott, and the question I got is, how do you relate weather to earthquakes? Because in the last few days, we've seen these reports on the internet. It was in the paper. The San Andreas Fault, which is both in Southern California and the northern part near San Francisco, the southern part of the San Andreas Fault is ready to explode, meaning it's ready to separate and cause a big earthquake. I mean, a huge one like 8.0 or bigger, that would devastate Los Angeles and the Southern California area. There's no question about it. We would get part of that here and feel it in Fresno. So how do you relate weather to earthquakes? Is there a correlation?
Not really. No.
There isn't? Really?
No. If I was a geologist, I'd probably be able to help you out a little bit more, John, but no, not really. I mean, that, you know, earthquake or shifts that occur below the Earth's surface, things that happen, and it's not the area that we study. It's not
weather related. It's not due to the clouds or any kind of
Right.
system that's coming together. It's underground.
That's right. Yeah, and we study the atmosphere. I mean, that's the weather,
Yeah.
what happens above the ground. However, we will pass along some messaging when there is an earthquake that's felt within the valley, especially if it's felt at the Hanford office. The Geologic Survey will take care of, you know, the seismic activity and pass along information about the earthquake and where the epicenter's at, things like that. But we do very little, but we will convey the message of you know, how it was measured and the areas that were affected.
Right. I don't know if you saw the, kind of getting off topic here, but maybe you saw the report on 60 Minutes on Sunday. They're talking about earthquakes in Oklahoma, which is kind of unheard of, but they surmise that those earthquakes are man-made because there's so much oil drilling there and water drilling that it's causing these earthquakes to happen, like hundreds of miniature earthquakes, and in some cases some devastating damage in Oklahoma. Quite unusual, to say the least. You don't think of Oklahoma being earthquake country.
No, but they get it all, I guess, now, don't they?
Yeah, I guess they get it all.
Tornadoes, large hail, big storms, and earthquakes. And you're right, most of the new earthquake news over the last year or two has actually been out of Oklahoma.
Right.
More so than even California. Alaska's another big area where you get earthquakes fairly often. But yeah, there's a lot going on in Oklahoma, and I've seen that trend myself over the last year or two with earthquakes over that, you know, across that state.
Right. How come the forecast can't be 100% accurate?
Well, the atmosphere is always changing. I mean, you know, we try to talk in so small a scale sometimes, and we really can't. Our models, high resolution models, are great, and they really tell us a lot whether you're 4,000 feet above the surface or right on the valley floor. So they have been improving, but still, it's kind of infinite when it comes to all these points out there, and it's just, you know, it's really hard to explain, to be honest, but we do our best to try to, you know, make the forecast as accurate as possible, give the people the information they need so they can make decisions each and every day. But again, the weather changes so much. Even a wind direction can make a difference in temperature So it's not an exact science. You've heard that before. It's true, but again, we're using some tools now that are helping us with more accuracy and out to longer time scales.
Right, because many of the weather people that I have worked with, and I've worked with just weather forecasters, I've worked with meteorologists, I've worked with all types, and a lot of times they get the same complaints that I've heard over and over again the last 20, 30 years, and that is, you missed the forecast last night, you missed the forecast last week. Well, it's not 100% guaranteed or accurate, right?
Yeah, and I'm just talking about the run-of-the-mill day-to-day weather. What we're doing now, we're making bigger steps to pinpoint. I like to use that word, pinpoint high impact weather that occurs across the valley or in our area of responsibility. So we're really honing in on the bigger events like we had this past winter with the rainfall, and then now we get with the thunderstorms that we've seen over the last week or two. We're trying to, again, time scales are very important. Intensity, duration of these storms also very important. So those are the types of events we're really looking at to try to get out the best information we can to our listeners.
Caller, you're on the air with Kevin Lynott. Go ahead.
Yes, there's a guy that put out a video on TV saying that in the 1800s they had a major quake out there in the Midwest, and that what we are in right now is a cooling session that should peak in, 30 years while the sun goes to bed for a while. Is all that true?
Boy, I don't know. That's a good question.
I'd never heard that before.
I haven't either. I forget how many years ago did you say?
30.
30? Midwest?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't distinctly answer that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, what about the average Joe sitting at home that wants to predict the weather and doesn't have a whole lot of sophisticated equipment? Can he or she do it?
Well, there's so much on the internet now, but unless you have a little bit of a background and you know what you're looking at, most folks can understand really what they're seeing on radar now, color codes. We have, but that's the good job that the Weather Service personnel have done over the years, John, as we've gone out, we've educated the public. By the way, we do that all the time. It's not, we just don't sit and forecast. There's so many neat things we do now to in terms of outreach, to talk about the tools we use, to talk about the different types of weather services. So to understand what the radar is showing, to understand what the satellite is depicting from 22,000 miles up. I mean, it's really some neat technology that I think most people can latch onto and get a good idea of how to plan from day to day.
Are you a meteorologist?
I am.
You are. And so does that make a difference in forecasting? Because I have a meteorologist friend of mine back on the East Coast, and he frowns on these weather forecasters that work at these local stations that are not meteorologists. And does it make a difference?
Well, I think most of those meteorologists have gotten the training or are getting the training. Just the background's a little bit different in terms of education. They may have not gone through some of the courses we did in math and science and the core meteorology, climatology courses, for example, that we took before we got into this business of weather forecasting. But their knowledge has really been enhanced over the last decade or two all around, and it helps us. That we collaborate much better with those folks now because of their knowledge, because they're doing it day in and day out like we are at the Weather Service.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Real quick questions, Kevin. Like all things, media or wherever, like your job, you have a boss that must give the okay in order to say there's a tornado coming, and because you can't take it upon yourself and say, there's a tornado coming, and if it's wrong, you're going to look bad, or whoever gave that. But I believe, like in media, there's an editor or whatever, and they're going to have to give the okay before anything is said over the air. Is that true? Because you can't take it upon yourself. I just want to know that question.
If I'm answering if I'm taking your question correctly, you know, we have skilled or trained meteorologists. We go to radar schools and things of that nature at the National Weather Service. So we become very proficient at not only understanding the atmosphere. So when you're talking tornadoes or severe storms, you know, our forecasters know what they're looking at. And there's, again, a lot of collaboration, a lot of talk and dissecting the storm, if you will, in real time. So, you know, these folks are trained that work for all the National Weather Service offices. When they see something on the radar that meets the criteria or thresholds of going severe, then there's no hesitation. A warning will be issued, whether it's a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning. If there's a lot of rain, it could be a flash flood warning. So there's no level of approval, so to speak, when it comes to that. If it's happening in real time, well, then we're going to be issuing that warning to protect lives and property. That simple.
All right, Kevin Lynott is here, National Weather Service. More questions for him ahead. 436-MeTV, option 11. We're back with our program here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno in a moment.
Take a look at this. Let's play.
This is too hip for you. I'll slow down.
Let's play.
Watch all your favorite classic game shows on Buzzer TV, KBBC Digital Channel 13.7.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Hi, welcome to the National Weather Service. As we're celebrating our 20th anniversary of serving the San Joaquin Valley from Hanford. We opened our doors on January 25th of 1995, but we dedicated the office on April 26th, 1995. So we've been here for 20 years. We serve an area in Central California that runs from Merced County, Mariposa County, all the way southward through Kern County. We serve all of the weather needs within that 7-county area. All of the forecasting is done from our operations area, where we have 5 identical workstations that we can do the job from any one of the workstations. We generally have 2 or 3 meteorologists on shift at any given time. We work 24/7. In the 20 years we've been here, we've never closed our doors. We have 3 people on shift today, each working on part of the forecast. The computer system is known as AWIPS. It serves to give us model data, radar data, and satellite data, all in one convenient workstation. We can also look at all of the text products, and we have access to the internet, where we can gather more data and monitor the weather situation throughout the area. We can display information from any one of these monitors up onto the big screen so that everybody in the office can see when we have something of concern. Particularly if we have very active weather, we'll tend to have radar up there. We also have our informational display, where we can have weather stations from any of our observation sites displayed, and we can choose those depending on our needs for the weather of the day, whether it be an issue for the Kern County Desert or the west side of the San Joaquin Valley or the Sierra Nevada. We can also monitor television stations from both Fresno and Bakersfield to keep up to date on what's going on.
All right, that was Cindy Bean taking you on a tour of the National Weather Service. That was a little more than a year ago, talking about the 20th anniversary. Now it's 21 years, but that's the main hub That is really the heartbeat of the National Weather Service right here in the Central Valley. Kevin Lynott is our guest here. We have a caller on the line waiting to ask a particular question. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to say they're doing real great work out there. I mean, when they do come out on the TV, I listen, I pay attention. But I just want to ask one question. Maybe, I don't know if they do or they don't, but could you guys add the cities that are most likely to be affected when you give out those warnings? Because sometimes, I live in Ridley, and we got the river that's nearby, but when you say flash flood, sometimes I'm like, is my neighborhood going to flood? Not necessarily, but is it going to rain that much? I got to go outside and check my gutters and all this other stuff. But, that's the only thing I would say, But, yeah, you guys do good work out there. Just sometimes when the warnings come out, I don't know, it says Fresno County, and I'm like, well, which part of Fresno County, what cities? I mean, I got family that maybe I could notify and say, you know what, watch out, it's going to miss Reedley, but it's going to hit Orange Cove or something like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words. We appreciate, you relying on us for weather information and watches and warnings as well. So when it depends on the type of warning we issue, and the piece of software that we use does have a tracking algorithm, if you will, and it will track the direction of the storm, how fast it's moving, and the towns or cities in its path. If it's that's again mostly for severe type storms. When it comes to more of the hydro or flashy type situations, flash flood warnings, for example, John, we'll focus on the river or the creeks or streams that are affected. So we're drawing a box or a polygon for the area that's under the biggest threat that we feel will be impacted, say, in the next 30 or 45 minutes. And we can adjust that box to, go out as if the storm continues its current track or even strengthens. So all all those towns or cities in that box are generally mentioned according to this algorithm when it tracks the storm through our software. That's the most technical I'll get about that, but again, that's where I came back and earlier I said pinpoint. Our tools or what the things we use will track it.
Well, like I think what this caller means is like when an emergency alert system comes on, like on your television, there is a major severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Fresno County, but you don't mention what cities are involved or little towns.
Yeah, well, and again, that's what I'm referring to. Normally, we should, with the software that we're using and the tool that we're using, the town should be included. It's in that template, if you will, that will tell folks.
It should be on the screen.
It should. Not all the time. That data on the screen can be parsed a bit and just kind of broad brush where that storm is. The whole warning, for example, doesn't get scrolled on the TV. So if that's where the caller's coming from, I totally understand that. You can get our warnings if you listen to it on No Weather Radio, or you go online, for example, get the warning that way, because all of our watches and warnings go immediately onto our webpage. Then you will see all the areas that are affected or in the path of any type of storm.
Yeah. I want to put the rain totals up. Let's put up the full screen. I think we have 2 of them, right? Let's go to the rain totals by month. There you go. January had more than 4 inches of rain. Not much in February, though, kind of tailed off. And, of course, it tailed off in March and April. So keep that graphic up there. I guess most of the rain came in January. And this month, we're still early on. So we've had, a total of 9.03 inches since January. Next graphic, please, and you will see that for the entire year since October the 1st, 2015, that's when the rain year starts, Fresno's received 14.23 inches of rainfall, which is 3.41 inches above normal. But the problem is we need so much more rain to get out of the drought. We're still in a drought? Or that's my question. Are we still in a drought?
Yes, we are in a drought.
We are. Okay.
Absolutely. And, our drought monitor continues to show extreme or exceptional drought. We've had a good year, John, and in terms of
But not
moisture,
a great year.
Yeah, not a great year. I mean, we knew it wouldn't make up for the last 4 years of getting very little in the way of rainfall across the valley or the region in general. Some areas up north, from Fresno north, did pretty darn good over the winter months into the spring.
Like Sacramento, Modesto,
Correct.
the northern part of the state.
Those towns and cities, central and north, did very well. The jet stream kind of took more aim over Northern California and into Oregon and Washington, especially during the winter months, than it did a little further south. So to answer a lot of questions out there, yes, we did have an El Nino. And I think I said this last time on your program, there's no two El Ninos that are alike. If you talk to the folks, you talk to the scientists up north of here, much above normal precipitation, and El Nino was felt almost full force in those areas. So there was just a little bit of a shift that occurred that didn't allow parts of Central and Southern California to get as much rain as we would have liked to make up for the deficit. But again, we did have some good storms. We're above normal, as you just showed, and we're going into the dry time of the year, so we're not going to expect a lot more, unfortunately. But we did have some good storms we can look back on now that especially helped the snowpack in the mountains.
Okay, anytime we can get 3 inches above normal in terms of rainfall, it's a good thing. But any other year but a drought year, that would have been great. But you can't consider it all that great considering we're still in a drought, because we needed more. And I'm not blaming you, but I'm blaming Mother Nature. And so you were here last August and you did say that no two El Ninos are alike, and we hadn't reached the rainfall yet because last August we were in the middle of summer. So, I guess, it's hard to pinpoint, at least from my standpoint. Not a great year, but you know what? 3 inches above normal, I'll take it. Better than being 3 inches below normal.
Right. And we had our share of storms. Again, it would have been nice if it was a little more evenly distributed, but that's not how Mother Nature works either.
Why did it go more north and less rain came here in the Central Valley and hardly any in Southern California?
Well, there's probably a number of reasons. We talk about this often at the Weather Service, what happened. And again,
what's your guess, the best guess, educated guess?
Well, I said before, it all starts over the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the warm waters had a lot to do with it. The warm waters that extended this year all the way up north, almost into the Gulf of Alaska. And I think that played a part in it, as well as the jet stream that I talked about a little bit earlier that drove most of the storms, or what we call an atmospheric river of storms, more to the north than toward the south. This is the part this is the time now following an El Nino where we do our research, we take a look at what happened or what didn't happen. So a lot of that is still yet to be determined, but there's a few indicators that are going to help us, and a lot of it was the ocean temperatures and also where the jet stream was located over most of the winter.
And the jet stream is what? Those are that's what determines where the clouds, where the storms are going to end up, and the jet stream was taking those clouds further north. Is that an oversimplification, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's pretty good. That's fine. Sometimes we get two different types of jet streams as well. You get a northern jet stream, which is the colder air that comes from the polar region,
and it takes it north.
Yeah, mostly takes it north. Again, the atmosphere just didn't want to behave, in some ways that we had hoped it would. Again, there was still a lot of energy from the El Nino. There was still a lot of high rainfall amounts that resulted from El Nino. It just wasn't more towards Southern California. And again, we have some follow-up to do on that to see, in future El Nino years, how could we better, predict
when you're looking
where they go.
You're looking at, say, the computer model, and you're seeing the jet stream. It's going one way. Can it change on a dime? Can it change direction?
Not really. No. I mean, usually, we see where those strongest winds are in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and they're generally pointing or moving into one direction. And a lot of, again, the energy and where as you mentioned, the clouds and moisture will develop will be in certain regions right above or below where that jet stream is. And if it's too far north, we're just not the recipients of precipitation when those.
So these jet streams
occur.
don't have the ability to change direction at a moment's notice.
No, not really. I mean, they curve. They do a lot of different things in the upper levels of the atmosphere that I won't get into. But they don't just turn 180, 90 degrees or 180 degrees.
They can't make a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn. Nothing like that. Okay, caller.
Not really.
Go ahead. You're on the air, caller.
Okay, listen, John, and your guest. What's his first name? Your guest's name? I don't know. Okay, I'll get it later. Listen,
Kevin. It's Kevin.
Kevin, when it rains here and it's a mild temperature, do we actually get any snow in the mountains? Now, I want your opinion, what your take is. I'm hoping we do. And that's my question of the day.
Okay, thank you.
Well, of course we do, especially during the late fall through the winter and spring months. You've got to remember that we forecast at Hanford from just a few hundred feet above sea level all the way up to 14,000 feet at the highest peaks along the Sierra. So that's a pretty large difference in elevation, and it gets colder very quickly as you go up every 1,000 feet. We usually say in the order of 3 to 4 degrees that it gets colder. So if you really do the math, and we're able to do the math, but with some help with our computer models, we know where that rain snow line is going to be. So the short answer is yes. When we figure it out, it snows in the mountains, especially during the winter months.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Hi. So glad to get in. Couple of questions. I thought that the satellite came out of Lemoore, not Hanford. So is the base station in Hanford and the satellite, whatever you call it, over at the Lemoore Naval Air Station, or am I wrong?
I think what he's asking, the Lemoore Naval Air Station, they have their own equipment, but no, the actual equipment or tools we use right out of the Hanford office in Hanford, and that includes the Doppler radar that sits on our site. The satellites are GOES satellites. I mentioned earlier, 22,000 miles above the Earth's surface.
How many satellites?
Well, 2, and now we're going to be getting a third one, another one. Maybe replacing one, but either way, it's called the GOES-R, and it's going to be a pretty slick satellite, and we're going to start using it operationally later this year. It's something that's been they've been working on. Another group of people that work under NOAA, they've been working hard on this satellite for years, so it's going to deliver even more quality data to us in better time, real time, to help us forecast across this entire area.
Okay. Any other questions, caller? Go ahead.
As far as everything comes through you to the different broadcasting stations. So please give out the email or anything that you can do so that we can get from the mouth.
Okay. All right, we'll do. We'll give out the email and the phone number one more time. The telephone number for the National Weather Service is 584-0583. Is there an email that somebody can email?
Most people have the internet, so everyone else that wouldn't be calling, I would say go to our website. It's easy. It's weather.gov/Hanford. HANFORD, weather.gov/Hanford.
That's your website.
That's our website at the National Weather Service, and you'll get some wonderful information off our main page. But if you scroll all the way down, to the very bottom, and
All right.
we will have our addresses listed there, and I believe a phone number. It may not be the number you just gave out, but it's another public number, and also a link to email us. So it'll go to a webmaster account at the National Weather Service in Hanford. So again, you can call, you can email us from that link on the main page of our website, and also our address is there as well.
All right, tell me this. Is the caller still there? No, he's gone. Okay, thanks for that call. I appreciate it very much. Can I ask you, what is Doppler radar? What is that? I hear that all the time. What is that? I want to know, does anybody else have that question? What is Doppler radar? What is Doppler radar? Do you know? Nobody knows. That's why Kevin's here. You're the expert.
In a minute or less, it's just a high sensitivity radar that sends out pulses of energy. And when I say sensitive, it's able to go out into the atmosphere at various levels, all the way from pretty much the surface all the way up to 40, 50,000 feet above the ground. And it's looking to intercept, clouds, ice, rain, anything that.
So you capture that on the computer imagery?
Yeah, it's captured. It's brought back in just within a matter of a few minutes, and then we are able to view that. It puts together this nice picture when there's actual clouds and storms out there, and it produces a number of different products actually that our forecasters are able to study and
so what can you predict from that
watch.
Doppler? What can you predict? Air temperature? What?
Well, the wind velocity is one big thing. Precipitation estimates are another big thing. Hail size. It's so sophisticated. Again, something that would take me 10, 15 minutes to get into, and I wouldn't want to bore you.
To get into.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that the algorithms that are in this radar they crunch numbers in a very short period of time, and as a result we get a graphical display that we look at on our monitors or awareness displays, so we can interpret what's going on, again, whether it's 10 miles out, whether it's 50 miles out, anywhere in the valley. It's just slick, and the Doppler radar has been around, of course, since the late 80s, early 90s in operation at the National Weather Service, but it has many functions. Yes.
You guys use it?
The Doppler? Yeah, it's right on our site, and it's operating 24/7. And so again, it's part of our mission, John, to save lives and property, and even in clear weather days, we can get a profile of the winds and things of that nature. We don't have to study it maybe as much when the weather's quiet, but when it does get active in thunderstorms and these clouds grow upward, boy, we can extract so much great information from our Doppler radar. It's cool.
Are you familiar with a weatherman by the name of Lloyd Lindsay Young?
I am not.
You're not.
Is he from California?
He's here in California now. Okay. He does a KGO radio in San Francisco. I worked with him in New York at WOR. He worked there. I worked at NBC, and he was a crazy weather guy. Not crazy literally, but just a funny guy on the air. And he used to give the weather forecast, and then he'd look at the camera and say, "That's science." Okay, and it really is true. That's science, right?
Totally. I mean, from the time we go to school to, again, how we're breaking the forecast down. It's, we're integrating the best science we can through all the tools that I've mentioned on this show today, and from from our own intellect, if you will. Again, we have some great forecasters at Hanford, and we have a mission to do, and I think we do it very, very well.
Yeah, he used to look in the camera and say, "Hello, Hanford," and it'd be a big shout out, and just a great guy. By the way, if he's watching, Lloyd Lindsay Young, haven't seen you in years. Hope you're doing okay. But one of the good weather guys across the country. So, Kevin, I'm glad you came back. We're out of time, but I'm gonna pay a visit to you guys down there in Hanford one of these days. Can I come and visit you guys?
Please do. Yeah,
I will give you a call.
Yeah, nice to have you, so you can see how things work on our end, John. It's always a pleasure being here. Thanks for having me again.
And I hope you can come back. We'll have you back like right before the rainy season starts. Is that okay?
That sounds good. And we'll see what the winter has in store. It's a little too far out right now, but we'll let you know.
All right.
Okay.
Kevin Lynott, stay safe. Drive back safe to Hanford there. And thanks for being on the show again.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's program, a political show, Sal Quintero will be here. Did you hear me out there? Sal Quintero fans, listen up and call in. He'll be the guest tomorrow. See you then. Have a good day.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.